Hello and welcome to the Weekend Sauce. My name is Corey.
And I'm Dom.
Today we'll be taking a look at some various auto chess related stuff.
That's right, we're into the era of auto chess,
Yes,
my guy.
the newest craze has hit the market in the form of auto chess, which I guess we'll break it down real quick, kind of the history of auto chess, if you will, right? So originally we had Dota 2 auto chess, which was a custom game based off of Dota 2, right? So that came out, and it was probably one of the bigger custom games
It
to
definitely
come out of
was
Dota 2.
something just completely that just took over,
Yeah,
right? For instance, you go on Twitch, you see all the streamers are on Dota 2 playing auto chess,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you're like, what is this? Like, this is awful to look at.
yeah. It was weird, right? Because like it still is very strange to look at custom game related stuff because obviously like you get, well, at least I get flashbacks to like Warcraft 3 custom games and stuff like that, and obviously Dota has history within custom games. But yeah, I guess at least prior to this, there really wasn't any Dota 2 custom games that had really taken off. But yeah, like you said, like with Auto Chess coming out, it was very strange to see just how popular it was in such a short amount of time. Um, which I guess it makes sense. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
straightforward,
yeah,
one of those pick up and play kind of games. So that continued on for a little while.
that's right.
And then now we've had, at least this past week, we've had the PBE release of League's version,
Right. So we
Riot's
have
version.
Riot and Valve, right?
Yeah,
Releasing their
and
own versions.
Valve, who just put it's Dota Underlords.
That's right.
I believe it's on early access now, so there was like a beta or an alpha test type thing, and now it's actually like available for the public to engage with. So that's out. Same thing for Teamfight Tactics, which is Riot's take on the genre
That's right.
game. I don't really know what to call it just yet. But yeah, that's out now, or at least again
It's,
out.
it's its own technical genre or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't even know.
it's
But
weird, right? Because it's like it's hard to really kind of classify what it is because it only really has just been coming out this past year.
hmm
So it's like it's almost like a new version of the MOBA craze to a certain extent, or at least the
yeah.
beginnings of what might be.
So I think we're nearing the end of the battle royale craze,
I
and I
think
think
so,
we're
yeah.
entering auto chess era. And at first, I was actually not. I didn't think of auto chess in a positive light. I was like, "Oh my God, they're playing this
Yeah.
again. This is awful." But after giving it a couple of goes, myself at least on TFT, Teamfight Tactics, I was able to actually see what mechanics they have and start to enjoy the game. Uh, if I had to look at both of them that are on the market, you have right Underlords and TFT. These are the ones that are looking to be the main forerunner games, right? Of course, you can always go back to Dota 2 and you can play the game there, right? The custom game. But this is supposed to be the mode. This is supposed to be another game that this is it. This is going to be the main game, and Valve and Riot are now fighting for that position and spot. And of course, both of them do things better than the other. Um, when it comes to TFT, this is the one I have the most experience, and I've waited at least a collective of 10, 12 hours just trying to get into my PvE account with all the craze and excitement about it.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's actually pretty well done. Of course, it's nowhere close to being done. There's a whole bunch of bugs. Every single time they patch something, something else breaks, and that's where Underlords definitely has a big advantage, right? For instance, uh, on my first day, day one, everything seemed to be working kind of okay, right? Apart from a couple of small niche bugs, and of course, we'd like
Right.
some quality of life changes.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
instance, like a DPS meter or some of your units just doing enough damage, right? Like
Yeah,
you wouldn't take damage from a phantom enemy, right? Because if you have an odd number of people, you can't exactly go up one on one
right,
against
yeah.
people. So that was another thing, right? But another patch, you have Lulu's ult that's not working. You have no sound being played, or like it all just comes rushing in at
Oh, that's
once, at
very
least for
annoying.
TFT.
Yeah.
So things are breaking, but they're trying their best. And it's not to say that it's all bad. They have a really cool carousel mechanic.
Mhm.
Carousel, I think. Carousel mechanic where everybody jumps in, and based on first to last, it has a catch-up mechanic,
Yeah.
which Dota Underlords and previous Dota Auto Chess did not have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So
So
still sort of finding their way, I
That's
guess.
for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Another thing that's a little bit underwhelming compared to Dota Underlords is the tier system upgrades, right? So in Dota 2, Auto Chess, and in Dota Underlords, they use skins to differentiate which tier your character is in, right?
Right,
Tier
yeah.
1, Tier 2, Tier
Yeah.
3, right? Where League kind of half bakes it and they just kind of put this little gold like trim on your characters, and you're just like, I don't
Does
get the same
yeah, it
feeling,
doesn't look as
it,
sort of
right?
visually appealing, yeah.
Your model does get bigger, but I would much prefer to be able to use some of the skins,
Yeah.
right? Um, they said that at least for any skins that you have paid for in League originally, it's not going to transfer over. But they do have the courier, uh, where Dota Underlords did drop from into the transition into a
Yeah.
mainstream
Yeah.
game, right? So for Dota Underlords, though, they went a more traditional route of Dota Auto Chess. I'm saying traditional when the game is fairly new,
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
like 6 months, maybe more,
Yeah.
like up to a year in a lifespan. But yeah, but it did remove the courier, which is kind of like the, how do I say, social aspect of the game, if you think about it, right?
Yeah, to a certain extent. It is at least like one of those things that was really sort of attached. Well, at least for Dota,
Hmm.
Dota 2, right? Like the whole courier mechanic, right? It's not present in League. It's not present in really any other MOBA type game, and so having it in auto chess coming from Dota 2 just made sense. But then, yeah,
Yes.
for Valve to remove it in Dota Underlords, it's kind of interesting. Yeah,
They decided to remove it, and they're actually going with a mobile variant with
they
Dota
are.
Underlords, right?
Yeah, it's more of
So,
a yeah. Um, I would have to say, based on that, it seems like they're going more in line with what Drodo is doing. So Drodo was, I believe, they were the ones who created the original custom game for Dota 2 because they have Auto Chess, the game, which is currently taking reservations. I'm on the website right now. They're currently at above 2 million, so just under 2.5 million reservations, at least on the Android test server, I believe, if I'm reading that correctly. So I believe they're sort of playing off of that as opposed to going more in line with what Riot is doing.
mhm.
I couldn't say for certain,
I have a
obviously.
question actually. If, I
Yeah.
don't know if you would know or not, but does the original creators have any like impact on any of this? Like on where it's going? Are they with Underlords or I don't even know.
For Drodo?
Yes.
Yeah, so Drodo Studio, I believe they were the ones who, or at least, yeah, I believe they were the ones who originally came out with the Dota 2 custom game, right?
Hmm.
Um, I would imagine at the very least they're the ones who have kind of been pushing for the auto chess kind of growth, right? Um, they've kind of the Drodo team have been the ones who've been sort of driving, having it be more, I guess, professional to certain, if that's even a thing you can say at this point. Um, they've been kind of going back and forth with Valve, right? In terms of auto chess, like there's a post by the Dota team that came out back in May that I have up right here, and it's saying that um, they flew the Drodo team over from China to talk about Dota auto chess and things like that, right? Um, and they came to the conclusion that the two teams couldn't work together and that they were going to move forward with their own versions of the game, right? I don't know what specifically that means, but I guess that's kind of why we have Dota Underlords and just auto chess now, right? Because we've been talking about auto chess the genre or the game type this
Hmm.
whole time, but like it's important to just you know to establish that auto chess was it wasn't a Valve thing, it wasn't a Riot
No,
thing, it
no.
was Drodo Studios thing, right? So they are the auto chess guys, and Valve and Riot have just been
They've been, well,
doing their own
even
thing.
League, or sorry, even Riot said that they were inspired, right?
Yeah, yeah,
By Drodo Studios to make their own auto chess game, which is fine, right? It's kind of funny though that it's Valve and
yeah. It's just
And Riot
it's
Games
just
getting
kind of
together.
like a repeat of what happened with League and Dota, like way back, however many years ago, right? Because Dota All Stars was a custom game of Warcraft 3, and then out of that came a bunch of different MOBA type games until Riot, Morello and the like, they kind of took a hold of what they were going to be doing and then made that into League of Legends. Obviously they copied a lot of stuff directly from Dota All Stars. That's just how it is, right? And so they took that and they built up League into what it is now. And then of course Valve ended up creating Dota 2 as being like the more traditional competitor to League, and then here we are. We have this new thing where it's Riot and Valve doing their own things again, right? Although we have a third party kind of in the mix at this point, so it's really interesting to see kind of how that ends up developing. Because kind of like at the start you said, like where we've escaped the battle royale craze, and now we're seeing perhaps the beginning of the auto chess craze.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
kind of
whole
hard to
bunch of
say right
auto
now.
chess clones
Yeah.
out there at the moment. And I would say that I don't like to say this, but I think that Dota Underlords is better at the moment. Of course, we're
Okay.
on the PBE server
Yeah.
for uh, for Teamfight Tactics,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like Dota Underlords is the whole package, at least more so than Teamfight Tactics. The problem with Dota Underlords for me is more aesthetically. Not to say that the art is not like polished or not. The art is good, right? It's
Yeah.
just that you can't exactly. It's not as free, right? You're down. You're in a dungeon. It's dark. You don't want to be here. At least that's just me. I just feel so narrow-minded
No,
when
no,
I'm just
that's
looking at the
fair. Yeah, I
game.
mean, as far as like aesthetical considerations go, it really just amounts to personal taste, right? Like,
Hmm.
um, I mean, League is a really good example of kind of shifting entirely your aesthetic, right? Because you and I have been playing League since forever, and we can remember original Summoner's Rift, which is this like really dinky looking forest type area, and then now we have this more beautiful sort of polished
Hmm.
looking area, and that's the kind of the aesthetic they've been going for. Dota, obviously, they're a bit separate in that they have kind of the two sides, right? So as opposed to just red versus blue, it's separated based on sort of what team you are, and that's kind of ends up relating to lore and things like that. So that's kind of it. Really just again ends up amounting to personal
Yeah.
taste. I don't mind it myself that much, but
I would say as well that if you want to play with friends, I would say Teamfight Tactics is a little bit more fun,
yeah.
right? When you have your little legend that can accompany you, right? Based on rarity, whatever you have, you could change your map to whatever you want,
Hmm.
where Dota Underlord does not have that yet,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I was gonna say it's a yeah.
So, uh, if you have friends, I'd say Teamfight Tactics. If you're a loner and a lone wolf, then I'd say Dota Underlords is
That's fair.
definitely the
Yeah.
more polished game. But I'm looking forward to seeing both of them. I hope League comes out on top because I'm a Riot fanboy. But I don't know. I think that's most of what I have to say. Actually, I feel like is it just me or do the best games always come from custom games and not necessarily from like great developers or like established developers?
Yeah, I think a lot of the more I think the games that last the longest come from these kind of custom game, party game type things, right? Because I mean, think about Team Fortress 2, right? Which is a game that's been fairly popular for over 10 years, I think now,
Mm-hmm.
right? That game is very much rooted in kind of that really old style kind of internet video game engagement where it's just, you end up you browse through servers or you hop into a random server and you just play with, these bunch of people and then you can hop in and out whenever you want, right? Very low key kind of thing. And then that was sort of adopted by Overwatch, which is now the Blizzard's one of Blizzard's baby projects now, right? And it was kind of the same thing for Dota All Stars way back when, right? Because it was you'd be browsing through the sort of the list, as it were, of custom games in Warcraft 3, and you'd see, however many Dota All Stars, and it's like I'm gonna join this one, right? And you're just with a bunch of different guys playing Dota All Stars. So I feel like the games that last longest, the games that are very easy to get into and very easy to kind of re-pick up if you fall out of playing that game. They're always multiplayer based. They're always very much sort of party based, and yeah, I would say it stands to reason that a lot of them come from these custom game style game types, right?
Mm-hmm.
So games that are like deathmatch oriented or always competitive too. That's important. So
That's
yeah,
true. I just wanted to say that Teamfight Tactics, actually, I'm so interested to see how they're going to go forward because I already know how Dota Underlord is going to be. They're going to be updating it pretty regularly, right? They want to keep it fresh. They want to keep
Yeah.
it new. They're all saying, "Listen, we're in it."
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, especially with Artifact flopping as bad as it did,
Exactly,
they
that's
definitely
true.
want to kind of get back in the swing of things. So
Is like Artifact is dead. It's actually dead.
yeah, it is
To
more or
be
less.
fair, I feel like the model wasn't the best, but that's just a
No,
personal opinion.
the model wasn't great. The game itself wasn't fantastic. I mean, there wasn't a lot of hype surrounded about it around it. So it was just kind of destined to fail. But yeah, I feel like based off of that, they're gonna want to do a lot with Underlords.
Yeah, yeah. And Teamfight Tactics, they said if there's more interest, they're going to add the ranked mode that they're working on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But you know what, guys? Just get your audio working, and then we can go from
yeah.
there.
So yeah, I definitely say keep an eye on Valve and Riot for sure. And then I mean, also interested just in seeing what like actual auto chess will be doing, right? Because they're kind of going off on their own now,
Okay.
right? Because obviously Valve is Valve and Riot is Riot, but Drodo Studio is this Chinese studio that kind of has to make it on their own now. So I'm interested in seeing how well they manage to place themselves within this hierarchy.
So what do you think is the real auto chess then?
I would say the real auto chess probably is auto chess. Obviously, it's the original. I mean, if they don't change a whole lot, it's going to stay the original. But then Valve and Riot are each going to bring their own kind of unique
Spin and
spin to the table, and then that will make it sort of better or worse, right? Because of course, League is extremely popular. I don't know if I would estimate that it is more popular than Dota 2.
I would say
I don't
so.
have numbers, obviously. I'm just going to hazard a guess, but the original is still Dota, obviously, right? So it's your preference. Like, do you want to play the more traditional style, or do you want to mix it up a little bit? So, who's to say, right? Um, but on that, I guess we'll sign off because I don't have anything else
No,
to say. All
no,
right.
no.
So, as always, thank you for tuning in. Um, got Twitter, all that great stuff. So, make sure to check out stuff in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. And yeah, take care.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good day.